video is to cover off the settings component of FleetMaint. To get to settings, if you've got the right permissions, just click on FleetMaint, and when you enter it, your normal screen that you've reserved will come up. However, you should see a little gear wheel here. When I click on there, I've got my FleetMaint settings page, and there are three components to the settings in FleetMaint that we're going to go through now. Firstly, we'll jump on general settings, little button in the middle. These are your settings in how you want FleetMaint to operate for you, and it allows you to edit any particular lists that you've got set up. Give you some examples. Requiring signatures on work orders is a good thing to have. This means that when someone comes to close off a work order, they must sign the little box, otherwise it can't be closed off. We have the archive old jobs after. No real requirement to have that unless you notice that you've got hundreds of thousands of work orders and your system starts to get a little bit slow. Turning on auto service creation. This is all about your preventative maintenance. Once you're happy that you've got your preventative maintenance set up in the system, you want to click this little button here, and it will start to produce services for your machines based upon their hour or odometer reading at that given time. Now, these two pieces of information below work hand in hand with the auto service creation button. This is how many kilometers or how many hours prior to the service being due that you want a work order to be created and put into your fleet maintenance system. As standard, and works for 99% of our customers, it's 1,000 kilometers or 50 hours. Up here you've got a couple of other settings. Auto save work orders in progress. If you guys are out and about in the field using iPads, I would suggest yes. That way they might notice a small flickering on the screen, but it is saving the data that they put into their fields, particularly if they're writing a lot of information as they go. That way, if they put the iPad on the dashboard and forget about what they were doing and drive into a no service area, they don't lose their work as it's saved in progress. The job priority required, in most cases, you're going to want the guys to identify what they think the priority of that job is, particularly if it's a safety concern. We can save those settings just by hitting here. As we go down, we've got a number of different fields whereby you can put your own information in. We've got our hazards, we've got our job priority, our parts, and our root cause. You can either edit the ones that are there by clicking the field, or you can delete them out by hitting the bin and going through it again. Pretty self-explanatory. If you want to change the list that is available to your workers on any of the work orders, this is where it's done. We go back to our settings page. We're going to go in and we're going to look at PreStart Settings. Now, you've seen how to create a pre-start. This is where the information that they get to select from is populated. There are a number of different ways to do this. If you have the information on a Excel file or a CSV, you can download our PreStart upload template, paste the information on, and then upload it. When you come to upload it, we're going to ask you to pick the asset type, pick the file, which is the one you've just modified, and then press upload. Be aware, any existing items that you have for those assets will be overridden. You can do it by scratch by hitting PreStart items and picking which asset types, whether it be single or multiple, they go to, or you can manage existing items. In here, you've seen that we've already done a pre-start for a wagon. So I'll select wagon, and it'll open up what we currently have in our wagon list. In this case, we don't have a pre-start. Therefore, the pre-start that you've seen is the Fleet Office default. We always want to make sure that you've got something for the guys to see. It doesn't make a lot of sense to check tire pressures on excavators, etc. Therefore, you want to move away from the default pre-start as soon as possible. I can change to bulldozer here, and you can see that if I have a bulldozer, I currently only have 2 items. I can add items in here, clicking the add new item. In there, check chain tension, just an example. I can add a cost code if I wish by default. I can put a priority, so if this asset has an issue with its chain tension and we want to say that that's an immediate safety fail, we can put a priority in here. Also, you can pick an additional field. This might come in handy if it's, fire extinguisher in date, and you put a date field in there. They can actually write the date at which it expires at the same time. If you're using this system for assets that don't have a tracker, you might want to collate the odometer information in there so that you've got it on record. Nice and straightforward how to create your pre-starts. If we go back to our FleetMaint Settings here, there is another last setting to go through, and that's how to create our auto servicing settings. I'm going to select a machine that we haven't got a service schedule for yet, and we'll say a Caterpillar 140H grader. Now our services are done by make and model. We can't just do it on type because there are a lot of different types of excavator. We can't do it just on those because they vary. We can't just do it on a generic model either. We like to go down to the serial of the model because as machines evolve through their series, they do get more complicated and service items differ. The idea here is to just replicate exactly what the equipment manufacturer has asked you to do. All we're doing here is formulating it into a digital version and allowing these items to crop up as per the telemetry unit is telling us, in line with what the manufacturer says. So we know, we'll use some rough examples here rather than the exact detail. We know that the servicing on a 140H will be done at a number of different intervals, normally based on hours. The lowest denominator might be 250 hours. We'll do a service every 500 hours, every 1,000 hours, and we'll say every 2,000 hours as well. So we've got our main intervals set up there. I'm going to go ahead and save. What you'll notice here is the included intervals information is populated. So at 250 hours, only the items for a 250 hour service will happen. However, at 500 hours, we'll get both the 500 and the 250 because 250 goes into 500 evenly. Nice, easy concept to understand. If we were to add another item at 3,240 hours and save that, we'll see that it does take place most infrequently, but nothing fits into it evenly. Therefore, whatever items you do there would be on their own. You can delete that one out. Obviously, we don't want a red herring in it for later on. So the actual things that are going to happen at each interval. Down here, we can click 250 hours and start to add our items in here. So one item might be check engine oil. I can add another item, and so on and so on. Replace air filter. Great. I can now go up to my 500 hour service and add the items that take place at 500. I can do that for 1,000 and 2,000. When the service sheet is created at 2,000 hours, you're still only going to get one service sheet, but it consists of all of these other items from the other intervals in order so that you can clearly see what they are, and the whole service is covered. Nice and easy. If you have any questions, as always, give us a call. Maybe have a go at setting one up. Send us a copy of it and ask us to check it. We'll make sure you're all set up. From when we press save and this is live, any assets that you've got of that make and model, as long as the checkbox is ticked in general settings, will start to spit out services based on these parameters at those intervals. If in any doubt whatsoever, get in touch with one of us here at the Fleet office and we'll make sure you're on the right path.